Good morning. We are going to bicycle to Pyramid of Austerlitz, which was built by Napoleon's brother. And yeah, it's going to be about half an hour, and I'm doing this a little bit differently. We are starting off with a stable view of the inner city of Utrecht, and I'm starting at the bicycle station or the bicycle entrance, which you will see in the video later. It's right ahead of us and is below ground, so you can't see it. But this is basically the central station area, and there are some nice things that you see here. They're still building it. This has been changed many times. In the lower right, you see the entrance for cars, so cars can be below ground. And under the central station itself, which is kind of in the upper right corner, below that white building with this new city hall, the weird H shape. There is the entrance to the central station for all the trains, which we'll see later on a bit. And also below that is the bicycle area, which holds, like we talked about before, 12,000 bikes just below ground, and above ground there's even more space. So yeah, I'm going to try to start this up, and I have to synchronize it, so it's a little bit difficult. So first I will start the video, and then I will start this 3D view, so that should be in sync. We'll see if that will work. So here we go. The video is playing, and the moment that we start moving, we will also start this one. And there we go. And we should now be recording and be in sync. And you can see that there's the entrance of the bicycle parking. The helicopter view, I call this the helicopter view, will be a little bit floating around because it's trying to avoid the buildings, which it can't. So that's kind of funny. I'm using Commute as a tracker to figure out where to go as a navigation tool, but I made a mistake in the beginning already. Of course it was my mistake. I go here to the left, and I should not have, and I at some point will go back. So we are making a mistake 2 times in this bicycle ride. And we are going to a place called Austerlitz, which is a village about 30 minutes away. But you can see I'm now turning around, you can clearly see that on the map. And taking the correct route. Again, in the first 5 or 10 minutes we will be a little bit sort of hoovering from left to right. I left that in because I think it looks kind of nice in a way, because you can see more of the city, but it's because of the buildings which are high, so Google Earth is trying to avoid that. So we are now on the correct route, and we see the tram above. You can also see that the tram is floating on the on top of the part of these buildings. You're going through the tunnel, and again you see all the train tracks. Going below that, and we are slowly getting to the area where you see a lot of Utrecht bicycle videos, and they say it's the busiest bicycle path in the Netherlands, which is probably true, but we can't. It's not that busy now. It's also fun to see, and you see that in the top view later on a bit, so in about a minute. Then we are crossing a water there, and that's actually the canal that was first a highway. So it was a highway to nowhere. It's they started building it, they finished it, but they never made a starting and the ending point in the 70s. And that was kind of the reversal, and they now brought the water back. So you can see on the top image the water that we are going to cross. And again, this is quite of a famous and busy piece of bicycle route. Funnily enough, yesterday somebody showed me a link and said Utrecht is very dangerous for bicycles because they were taking this one as an example, and in the busiest time of day, and then asking tourists to use it. I don't think it was too dangerous personally, but it is more busy, that's for sure. It's not most quiet. Like always, I leave all the waiting in because it's a really realistic view for tourists visiting the Netherlands, how it is to bike somewhere, in this case to the Austerlitz pyramids. And you see in the helicopter view that we are crossing this water, and you can see that they rebuilt the canal there. And people are using that. So this is considered as a hotel up front, but this is the round building is actually a hotel. And there are some nice views of this bicycle path online. It shows you a 24-hour sort of time lapse. As you can see, it's quite busy. I will be fair, I forgot when I recorded this, but I think it was on a weekday because we see a lot of kids. I recorded this a few days ago. They're not going too fast, so I'm sort of hovering behind them. And on the helicopter view you can see a tiny bit on your right, the old part of town, and on your left you see the water tower, old water tower. And as you can see, it looks a little bit chaotic, but it almost never goes wrong, so they clearly have a lot of control of their bicycle, even at an early age. You don't hear this a lot, but somebody is using their bell. And coming through with the buckfeeds. People saying that I'm going way too fast all the time. This kind of proof that it's more the camera that kind of makes you feel that it's fast, and I'm really going fast because, yeah, these two girls are not going too fast. And you also saw that the buckfeeds was passing me quite quickly. So this is an area where a lot of the university buildings are, and yeah, you can also see some of the churches. They are fixing that one. It's called the Janskerkhof. And we are slowly, but we are going to pass that the Domplein, which we are not going to see. But you see the tower on your right in the Google helicopter view, sometimes floating into the picture. But we're not going to visit it today. Of course, there's a lot of pubs and hangouts here because, well, there's a lot of students here. So in front of us, kind of there, is a street which has a lot of all the students from the University of Utrecht. They have multiple locations, of course, but this is one of them. So in a way, this is not typically bicycle paths in Utrecht because they are more rural, I would say, in the city, not like inner city. But you can see that in the inner city is also quite a lot of bicycle infrastructure, although it's way more mixed with normal car traffic. They are now pondering to bring the speed down even further for bicycles. These are already, I think, 30 kilometers, but to make all of Utrecht 30 kilometers an hour for cars. Which even in the Netherlands, there, of course, people are complaining about it. I don't have any deep feelings. I can see if the noise level goes down and the pollution goes down and it's safer, maybe it's a good decision, but there will always be people hurt by these decisions a bit, and people are happy with decisions like this. And it has to be done slowly, right? I mean, even the slowdowns and the car changes they are doing in the last 25 years, they slowly grew on people. So we are going to take a corner here. I was not sure for a second, so that's why I was holding in. And you can see 30 kilometer area over here. You see already in the helicopter view that we are slowly but surely leaving the city, going to the green parts. Please tell me in the comments if you like the extra view. I will try at the end to add some extra pictures and maybe talk a little bit longer, even if the video recording is done, to show you a little bit of what you can do with this application called Google Earth. And you can download, I will put it in the description, the file, and you can just re-watch it and also basically look around, use Street View and float around. So for car drivers, sometimes getting confused, especially if they're not from the Netherlands, they put that bus lanes on the red asphalt. I hope they are going to resurface this part, because it's a little bit bumpy at times. Again, this is Dutch people complaining about a perfectly okay bicycle path. But it would be nicer if it would be nicer red. You did notice that we are passing a traffic light and we'll pass a few and they're actually turned off, right? Which happens more and more often. They're either researching or if they are needed, or they just turn them off at certain time periods. I'm also drinking my morning tea. The reason why I'm making more of these videos now is because I only work 3 days a week. And so this is Thursday, this is my first free day. And also because I made the recording much easier. If you have not seen that video, I've now made a almost permanent setup on my bicycle on where normally your light will be. If it's not moving on your bike, it's fixed to your front end. There's where the camera is. And I can just click it on, and I kind of like the video quality and the colors now. I'm happy with it. So we are trying to figure out if we can use this Google Earth layer to make it a little bit more interesting. And I'm also considering, that's why I'm trying it now, to add a little bit at the end of the video and put some of the pictures that I made on location there. Because one of the reasons I go out to bicycle is of course to stay in shape a little bit, but also to go to places where I can take pictures. And the last and hidden reason, of course, is not that hidden because I talked about it, is that I feel if you're in Utrecht as a tourist, I can totally imagine that you are wondering, can I bicycle there? Because everybody's talking about it. But is it safe? Is it good enough for me? Is it safe enough for me, especially if you take your kids with you? And for me, one of the reasons was to make videos to known locations. So to parks, to beaches, to like today to the pyramid, to give you a feeling about how it is and show you the whole route. So you really get a feeling, hey, it's nothing to be scared about. So the only thing that you should keep in mind, and if you want to see that simulated, you can slow the video probably down 75% to 75% and see the real speed, because it does give you a little bit a feeling of people going really fast and I'm going really fast. But again, that's just a view. This is a good example. You see that there's quite a lot of motorways, right? We have seen a few already. But this is a good example where the bicycle infrastructure basically goes under the whole roundabout. We use roundabout for cars, and you also notice there are no traffic lights there, but there's no bicycle paths on this one. They all go below. And as you can see, next to the motorway, which is, I would say a good size one, 4 lanes. but you can see that they put the bicycle infrastructure next to it. And in the overview you can give a good idea about how that looks. And we are approaching, of course you see a bit of water left and right, and clearly already less homes, and we are slowly going to a first village, which is called the Bild. But we also see a motorway, and the motorway we are going to pass again under it, together with this highway which also goes under it. So again, no interaction. At some point we are going to lose the 3D view in the helicopter view, but it still, I think, adds value, so I'm not turning it off. But we don't have this nice 3D view anymore, which of course Google and Apple are doing, but not in all areas yet. So not all areas have been recorded in 3D. Funny enough, some of the locations, probably added by a person and submitted to Google, the end location, so the pyramid of Austerlitz, is in 3D, so we can at the end rotate it and look around it. Going under the highway. And as you can see, very safe so far, in my opinion. Yeah, the food deliveries scooters make a lot of noise and they go quite fast. To give you a point of reference, I think he would probably be going like 40 or 45 or something like that. So that tells you the speed that I'm going, right? I hope you don't hear me drinking my morning tea. So if I want to point out the different dangers, then the danger here would be, we talked about this in other videos, they tend to put a lot of trees, of course there are trees for natural reasons, but sometimes they also put them next to the bicycle paths to basically stop the wind, and also when it's raining to shield you a little bit. The downside of doing that is that they break up the bicycle paths with their roots at times. So one of the things that which is dangerous, and I'm using air quotes now, is that there might be a little bit of bumpy going on. So you see me at times sort of avoid to the left in this case, simply to avoid one of these, I wouldn't say potholes, but bumps. And it won't kill your bike, but it will shake the camera, and I just don't like how it feels. So sometimes I avoid these things. The same with water drainage, and this is a good example here, right? You see this one was done quite well, but this is again a little bit more of an old-fashioned street with cobblestones, and sometimes you see these water drainage which are not hidden that well, and you will definitely feel a bump. So I'm avoiding something here. Now, I can imagine that, although this is totally safe, that you don't get a feeling you are going through nature. So when you're here, this is a very practical route, right? This is the route that the Dutch people will also take themselves, because it's very direct. If you use commute, and there are special bicycle paths, or what they call the rural bicycle paths, between different cities that are not next to the road. So you can also, in many cases, come up with a route where you don't have the car road next to you, but you're going just in the fields with flowers or cows or whatever. I'm not using that today, so you still hear quite a lot of noise from the cars at times. But that's a choice, right? So this is, I wouldn't say this also makes it easier for the government to do it, but if you're building a highway or a car road like this, it makes sense to put a bicycle path there, and it's always a good way to get from point A to B. And the other bicycle paths, the more rural ones, might be more fun to ride. Although this is not a punishment in my view. So we're passing different places on the left and on the right. So we have the Bild, Zeist, which we will see a little bit later on, Beerschoten, and then Huis ter Heide, and that's about it. And slowly, but there's two things you can see about this in the helicopter view. I made a mistake. See, I made a mistake again. This is the second mistake. I'm turning around and going like, nope, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. So this is the Bild, the view of the Bild. And I need to cross this motorway, and again they decided to do that below it, so I have to circle around to go below it. And that's the part that I missed, because they don't want you to cross over the car road. They want you to go under it, and you can see me looping around under the highway, also in the helicopter view, so that I have a safe way to get from to the other side. Of course, this loop only takes you, I don't know, 20 seconds if you know that it's there. If you don't miss it, like I just did. You hear off on the the tire noise that this is cobblestone. I'm not sure they're called cobblestone. I will try to find the correct, because cobblestone are more like cobbles, I guess. This is, but it is stones. And now we are going to see a kind of a typical sort of crossing. And sometimes the bicycles have need to yield, like you see here. And you can see that we call them shark teeth. I'm not sure if also the American name for them. And it always gives everyone, including bicycles, a hint that they should yield. I'm not saying you should not look at all the other things, but the yield signs and the traffic lines are the most important ones. And you can see there are quite a few cars here, right? So here we do have to stop. And you can see on the sign we are already 4 kilometers from Utrecht. Very comfortable on her bakfiets, because she's also on her phone. We're going to follow her a little bit. We are lucky that the 3D view is going quite far outside of Utrecht, but we are going to lose it further on. So just for your information, I will put a link to the commute again in the description. I promise that every time and I hardly do it, but this one I will do it. Oh, this was kind of funny. So he was yelling to a bicycle you see her up ahead, They are yelling to the girl that they just passed. So I guess bicycle communication. So I will put a link on because then you can re-watch it in Google Earth if you want to. I've put a video online on how to do that, so search on the channel and you'll find it. And then you can sort of at any point look around and see more. I will show a little bit of a demo at the end of the video, but you could do that at any point in the video. And then you can also of course use Street View from there. This is a good example of, let's say, a bicycle path on one side and not on the other side. And I'm going to the other side, but then I figure out it actually stops there. So I need to go back. So I'm like, well, there is a bicycle path kind of here, but it's not really a bicycle path. So let's go to the official one on the other side, which I'm now pondering about. And I decided to go here. And then I figured that it was the end anyway. If my memory is correct, I'm going to do that here. There I go. And then I figure out, oh no, it's the end of the bicycle path. Okay, go back to this side. Of course, this would be terrible if this would be like a really, really busy car road, but it's not. So, as you can see, there are no cars here. Although I think we are going to pass a little car later on. You can see 4 people next to each other, probably 2 parents, 2 kids. And they're passing another bicycle, so there's 5 bicycles next to each other. But again, next to the, I wouldn't say busy road, but there you have the little car. And if you go back and you pause it, you will see that it actually says Schumi, which was a hint to, I'm assuming, to Michael Schumacher. So the F1 driver. So these handicapped vehicles always use the bicycle paths. They have to follow the same rules as scooters, and of course that's a good solution. Again, we need to cross an intersection, and if they have the time and budget, they will make a passing below it. In this case, you see a passing below it on this T-junction. So that's why I think putting in the helicopter view, even if we don't have 3D anymore, because we are now on the edge of the 3D map, it's good to show you, because you can see why these tunnels are there and why they make sense. You can also see that I had to loop back a little bit. This was not a mistake, but by design, because I'm coming out of the tunnel. So if I go straight, of course I go straight, but if I really wanted to go the other way, in this case more into the forest area, then I have to do a loop back, which takes you again about 20 seconds. Now here, of course, we are getting way more into the forest area. And this is a national park, or part of a national park called the Utrechtse Heuvelrug. And the Utrechtse Heuvelrug is basically the back of Utrecht, if you translate it, back mountain of Utrecht. But although it's called a rug, it's not really that high. It's like the highest point is like 20 or 30 meters. But for us that's kind of interesting. Probably if we really get although I live above sea level in my home, I guess this is one of the safer points in this area. If we really get flooding of 10 meters or something, then this is the area I will bike to, I guess. So we are really slowly going up a tiny bit. And again, this is very enjoyable to ride, although you do hear some, of course, if you see like a motorbike, then they make noise. But this was pretty quiet. The microphone is picking up way more noise than you would expect to hear there. but it's not a bicycle only path. Again, there are cars, although we don't see many here driving. Not saying it's a bad route, but it is not a totally bicycle only route, which, like I said, you do have in certain areas if you really look for them. You can probably plan your trip, let's say, even more quiet. I think on the right here in the wooded area, you can see it on the Google map. You can't see it, but I'm pretty sure there are some bicycle off-roading paths there. So single trails paths. And also I think some horse paths. And on top we already see the buildings of the next place, which is called Zeist. We are not going to go anywhere near it, but you can see it in the helicopter view. But you can't see it, of course, from the bicycle path, so you have no idea that you're pretty close to the next village or city. So leave comments what you think I can improve or make better. That's a high-speed bike, and that's kind of interesting. So it's the same bicycle that I have. It's only like a $100 or $200 more, but it can go 45 kilometers an hour. So what you would call 28 miles an hour, or you, if you're American. And then you have different rules. They kind of have to follow the same rules as the scooters and the handicapped vehicles again, in that you do need to wear a helmet. You do have to have a license plate, you do have to have insurance, and you can only go on the bicycle paths which are assigned to you. And that's not all of them. So the reason for me not to get it is it will be nice for trips like this because you can go faster, but you can't use them in all of the inner city parts. Then you have to go on the same place where the cars need to go, and we don't like that. So it's one, I think, problem that the Netherlands has not solved on how to think about it. So the logic they follow now is that you are just a scooter and you should follow all the rules that the scooters have, and they are not allowed on the, let's say, slower bicycle paths. I think in the future I hope they come to a solution where they can combine it, maybe using GPS or whatever, that the bicycle automatically is limited to 25 in the inner cities. Support, right? You can always bike faster, but let's say the support is only limited to 25. Well, if you are outside of the GPS zones, that 45 kilometers is enabled. So for the reason that you are allowed on all the bicycle paths. For me, this is such a downside that even if the price of my bicycle is about the same, I would never get a high-speed bicycle for this reason. I also, to be fair, I think this speed is more than okay. But if you're using it for commuting between two of these places daily, right? So let's assume that you live in Utrecht, but you want to work here. So it's about 20-minute ride or something. Then I think it makes sense. So we are now skirting the city of Zeist. It also has the training grounds of our national soccer team. So with the Orange Army. Although I guess the Orange Army is now both for soccer and for Formula 1. And at some point we'll pass it. I'm not sure where, if it's already close. But that's their official training camp. Of course, I'm recording this voice over looking at 3 screens actually. So one is having the video, the other one has the 3D map that I'm recording. And the last one I can read some information. And but for me, it is also the first time that I'm really on 2 big screens watching the 3D view at the same time you are. So I also see some of these let's say, construction of how they did the infrastructure for the first time. So here you can see that there's a road below us, which we are now passing. And we see the roundabout up front. And I think this doesn't have any traffic lights. Just the yielding signs for bicycles. But I'm not sure if it even has yielding signs or we have the right of way. Let's see. So there it is. So when you come onto it, you have to be careful. Oh, we can't see it. But you can see there's, unless there's something going on, you don't have to stop. And that's the trick, right? The trick about keeping your speed up. So I will put a picture with the speed of the trip in the video now. If I don't forget. You can see that I'm mostly going 24 kilometers an hour. There's a weird little bridge over there. It looks like a walking bridge, but I'm not sure. I also don't know how far it still is, because I don't dare to touch any of the screens in the danger that I stop the recording. So I don't see the progress bar, how far we are. I think we are about at 60 or 70% of the trip. He's going quite fast on a tricycle. I decided to follow him a little bit. I'm doing this as a voiceover now. I'm also got another small wireless mic again, and I will experiment with that so that I can talk during the trip. I don't think I will be a big fan of it, because I kind of like that we can do this after the fact. I talked about this before. If I don't want to watch the video back at least one time myself, why would you watch it? It's a pity that Google doesn't allow you to only listen to the left or the right channel, because otherwise I would have, and mono, otherwise I would have done my voice and only the left, for example, so that you can turn it off and you only hear the bicycle sound. Because now you're forced to listen to my voice or turn off the audio completely. I guess this is a place called Zeisterbos, and Bornea, we are going through these areas, or that's in front of us. So this is probably still the outskirts of Zeist. And you do see that, of course you've seen it before, that if I'm standing still, then also the GPS is standing still. If I match the two recordings correctly. That's why it was important in the beginning that I hit record at the correct time. I'm pretty sure this is universal. The traffic lights are making different noises for red and for green. Again, quite a straight road. So I figured this was a bicycle path, but it's not. So you can see there's sometimes some confusion going on. Multi-use path, which is not a multi-use path, because I see a sign further along that this is actually only for pedestrians. So I will get off it again. So it's mixed for cars and bicycles on the left. And here you see the sign that this is basically only for pedestrians. So I'm like, okay, let me be nice and get off it. It's not like you are getting run over by lots of cars, right? It's and that's a feeling I want to give in these videos, right? Most of the time, luckily, if you hear them, I would say the most danger is a big word, but the most annoying ones are the scooters, in my opinion. This probably has to do with the amount of noise that they make and the type of drivers, to be fair, which mostly are younger. Oh, this was quite funny. I had to. The dog was sort of running on the road, and I'm slowing down, and he's also smiling, like, yeah, well. Again, I drive quite defensively, although people have been remarking on my videos that I drive way too fast. It's really a visual thing. I have very good brakes, and I'm always watching. I'm never on my phone. I never have my headphones on. Well, that's not fair. I have on in one ear sometimes to listen to books, but only one ear and never music. So. And here you see one that's priority for the bicycles, right? You don't see any... if you go through, you don't see any... this is actually a car structure thingy that we see up later on, because it was loading, and we see them later on passing us. Not sure what it was. It was kind of an interesting thing. But you can see we crossed this roundabout without having any yield signs for us, so we can just continue riding a bicycle. I will still slow down because people make mistakes. Oh, so car drivers make mistakes. They are not out to kill you all the time, but they might make a mistake. So you should be careful and check if something is coming. By the way, I think we have missed the training center for the national soccer team, but I'm pretty sure it was where I kind of pointed it out. Maybe you've seen it, I've missed it. And one thing you see in this video, although we are a very busy country with 17 million people in the area of about 200 by 300 kilometers, with 36,000 kilometers of bicycle paths, there is a lot of green areas in the country. I think sometimes people miss that. And you can see that in the helicopter view, right? There's, in this case, quite a big forest. Well, big in Dutch terms. It's not like you can get lost for weeks, but you can get lost for a day, maybe. And again, you can see that people on normal bicycles are passing me all the time, even though I go 25 kilometers an hour. let's see, read the signs where we are. We're getting close to Austerlitz, which we want to go. So maybe at some point we will see in the helicopter view, really small yet, the pyramid popping up. And here you can see that I do need to yield, and you see the signs and the shark teeth on the road, but no traffic lights, which saves an amazing amount of money, by the way. Traffic lights are expensive. Just Google it. Probably different in different prices in different places, but they are not cheap to maintain and to put in. So if you can design roundabouts, which you see here quite a lot, without traffic lights, it's a win-win for everybody. And you can use the money to put in bicycle paths. Quite bumpy. I'm not sure what these hill thingies are. You see them on the helicopter view. I will look at it, because from this side it looks like almost like skiing slopes. It's an interesting design. And again, I'm not sure what this building is. Again, quite a nice building that I might have to visit at some point up ahead in the helicopter view, which I totally missed if we don't look at that 3D view. So that's why I also like this application. You can sort of look around what's in the neighborhood, because there's clearly something interesting on our right, which oh, that's the Camp Bay. So that's actually the soccer training ground. So there's no way that you're going to enter. You see the ball there? There's no way that you can enter. But they do have a nice looking building. So the national team might be training there. And of course there's security, because even though we are not the best team in the world, we are, I would say, sub-top. There are at times, of course, lots of fans and lots of high-paid soccer players there, and then you need security, so I'm pretty sure it's not easy to get in. So that's further out from Zeist than I anticipated. Okay. I see the pyramid up ahead. Not sure if you can see it already, because it's really small. And that's the aim of the ride of today. this was quite an enjoyable ride. For me, I need to do about, so this was about 30 minutes, so I need to do about 4 of these rides, or 2 if I go back and forth, and 2 of these rides a day. At least that's my aim in distance. So I try to bicycle about between 40 and 50, I would prefer 50 kilometers a day. And again, that's one of the reasons why I'm making these videos. But I do want to make them as easy as possible to record. So now I'm getting into the habit that I can record every time I go out. Even if I don't like it, I have the recording almost like a dash cam. If something funny happens, or let's hope not something not so funny happens, I have a recording. But if it's a nice trip, I can turn it into one of these videos. And in the middle of the forest, or semi on the edge, I guess, we will see the pyramid popping up. I was hiding some of the interface, so on the end of the video I will make it a little bit bigger on the Google Earth view, so that you can see the controls that I'm using if we are giving a demo and looking around the pyramid. And slowly we see it coming into the picture. Like I said, this is a 3D object. Either Google has made it or somebody else. So it sticks out quite nicely now. And we can explore it as a 3D object, while the rest of the picture is not. So we're getting close to the end of the video, at least the end of the bicycle part. Like I said, I will probably throw up some pictures that I made of the pyramid. I think I made them like 3 years ago, something like that. Because I didn't take too much new pictures. And I will also do some 3D navigation, so you can see how the app works and look around. A quite boring but interesting tower. So let's give some facts on this tower, which I should be able to do somehow. So it's 40 by 40 meters. It's basically a earth pyramid, so they have to maintain it and cut the grass every week. So it has 81 steps, and it was built in 1804 by soldiers of Napoleon, because they were bored. They were there for 5 years, and well, I guess they were not bored, but their leader forced them to build it. So I said it was the brother, but that was in my mind, but might not have been a brother, but at least French general forced them. There was a army camp here, and they forced them to build their tower. And the obelisk on top was supposed to be replaced with a statue of Napoleon, but that never happened in the end. So you can find more information about this on Wikipedia, of course. So, like I said, it was built about over 200 years ago. It's not like the oldest one, but he was visiting, or he had visited during one of his wars with Egypt. The general visited pyramids of in Egypt, and he was inspired to make this one. If you're going here, it's not the world's most cool attraction, I guess. But for kids, you can already see it, I think, coming up slowly. There is some other things for kids. I think there's animals there. There's a playground. I'm pretty sure you can get some food. So research the website and you can find it. There is some entrance money if you go up, I think. It was very little if I remember correctly. So this is a good example of we need to cross the road, and it's quite a long wait. So I have put the 3D or the view complete, so you can also see the navigation of Google Earth now, which I'm using to make this, so we can start navigating around later on. Yeah, it was a long wait. This is probably, if you go here, the most dangerous point. Because you really have to wait until... Although there's of course a middle area, which adds a lot of safety. And now we have to bike into the place itself, which you're not supposed to bike, I guess, further on, but I did it anyway. It's quite slippery sand. And you can see there's some more attractions over here. If you want to go here, check them out what's there. I did not really bother. I just know if it's a sunny day, there's lots of kids there, so there's probably stuff to do. Because otherwise the visit to the pyramid might be a little bit boring for some people. Although kids might like going on top and looking. We know we are getting closer and closer, but you would not know until you, if you don't have the 3D map. And then, as almost magic, it pops up in the woods. And there it is. So soon we will stop the video. I think I gave it a few seconds. You can compare the picture of the 3D with the picture in reality. So I will stop the recording, the video recording at some point. But we'll show you some pictures and navigate the 3D map a bit. My shadow is getting off the bike and turning the video off. So I now made the 3D view bigger, and we'll show you a little bit of navigation and also give some time for pictures. So yeah, what you can do with the 3D viewer is hopefully I can navigate here. You see that there's quite a lot of controls. So here you have a video time bar, which we're not going to touch because that was the way that we got in, right? So basically like a video player. But you can also see quite a lot of navigation here. So one of them, this one, you can use to, well, let me start with this one. This one you can use to zoom in and zoom out, as you can see. So you can see where I ended up. You can zoom out again. You can also just navigate like this, which is kind of nice, and you can rotate. So and you can set the height. I think it was this one. Oh, well, or it was 2 fingers, but at some point you can also set the height. But you can see that we can also rotate like this. Not sure why it's not as smooth. And like I said, zoom in, zoom out, and look around this tower. I'm pretty sure, but I forgot how, that you can also rotate this. Oh, maybe with these ones. 2 fingers, 3 fingers, there is a way to navigate. Like always, when you're showing a video, you kind of get confused. The nice thing here, of course, if you zoom out, that you can see that it really is in the middle of the forest. And these are these wet areas, which are also interesting. We will visit them at some point also. And they also have paths in them you can kind of bike around. So zoom out again, and we should at some point see the whole path. And you can go in any location in this path. I'm guessing I can click here, it will zoom in there and look around. So any location that we have visited, you can sort of revisit. In 2D, if you go into the inner city, so where the 3D was, so the 3D map was, so let's move back a bit. Follow the path, there we made a mistake. And here you can see the 3D popping up. So let's go all the way into Utrecht itself and just go in here. Oh, guess that's not the way to do it. But you can see Utrecht over there. Let me zoom in. And then you can see that everything is in full 3D. So if you rotate around, you can see that all the buildings are 3D. Of course, you can also do a street view. From here you can just pop your little guy over here and then look around like this and zoom out again. So it's a really powerful tool if you want to use this. So let's go back to the endpoint, which should still be the blue line. Zoom all the way out. You can see the trip that we have done. So go back here and I will show you some pictures. Let's do it over this. Let's put the pyramid in the background. Oh, that's how you set the angle. I guess now if I zoom in, you can sort of, I'll put it there. You see the nice circle and where we ended up. And I will put some pictures on top of this so you can also see some pictures. I made these a few years ago when it was nice, green, and lush. If my memory is correct, I still have to find the pictures. So, yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, yeah, let me know. Also, let me know if I can improve things. Keep in mind, for me, it's a combination of exploring my own surroundings, doing the exercise, but also I want to find a compromise about quick recording, not too much work. Actually, the most work is making these voiceovers on top of the video. Um, but the recording has to be really quick, so there is limits in what we can do and what we are willing to do to record them. So thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.